Li Daokong smiled and asked, "Do you want to surpass me?" "I want to, but I don't have the ability." "If you want to surpass me, you need to take a strike from me." "Take it. I'll give you this position. If you can't, go back and train more." "Come," Hanju said seriously. He knew that Li Daokong wasn't making things difficult for him. At this point, his mystical powers had already reached the deity realm. If he continued forward, he would probably reach the zenith heaven realm. Li Daokong waved his hand, and a sword chi flew towards Hanju. This sword chi was not spectacular, and its aura was average. However, it was extremely fast, so fast that Hanju didn't even have time to react. Boom! Hanju's consciousness spun and returned to his body. He suddenly opened his eyes. He couldn't even block a single strike? Ridiculous! Although Hanju didn't exert his full strength in the Sword Dao River, it could still show the difference between the two. Of course, if they really fought, Li Daokong wouldn't even be able to break through the defense of the 36th grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus. Hanju perked up and continued to strengthen his other Sword Dao mystical powers. The copy of Li Daokong in the Sword Dao River seemed to be the remnant of his will, not his true body. Half a year later, Hanju raised his strength to the limit and began the simulation trial. He would beat Li Xian'eo first. Back at the Great Ultimate Hall, Li Xian'eo was also there and Hanju copied his data. Li Xian'eo couldn't break through the defense of the 36th grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus at all. Although Hanju's cultivation was inferior, he could still fight evenly using the Supreme Treasure. It was worth mentioning that Li Xian'eo's cultivation was 6 mystic divine origin. He wondered when this fellow would reach the Zenith Heaven realm. Hanju always remembered that he had dug out the chaotic heavenly dog's eyes. He had to take revenge. 3 days later, Hanju ended the simulation trial. He couldn't defeat the Zenith Heaven existence for the time being. However, with the 36th grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus, he would not be insta-killed. Most of the people in the deity realm were not his match. Without being able to break through the defense of the 36th grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus, Hanju could find an opportunity to win. A small number of 6 mystic divine origin cultivators could make Hanju unable to move no matter how he fought. Overall, Hanju was still very satisfied. Even if he had just entered the deity realm, he was not at the bottom. It had to be said that the 36th grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus was really strong. No wonder Immortal Emperor Samsara wanted to obtain this item. However, the negative karma contained in this treasure was really terrifying. If not for the stellar primordial body, this treasure would instead be a serious burden to Hanju. Daoist Yuji was like this before, so he followed Hanju's act and threw this treasure away. Since I've broken through, shouldn't I celebrate? Hanju thought silently. He cursed Zhu first. This fellow had been cursing the Heavenly Emperor. It was obvious that he was pretending to be him. Unforgivable. Moreover, Hanju deduced that the future Zhu would slaughter all living beings. Killing this fellow was to benefit all living beings. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed while thinking about how much lifespan he had to offer. 10 billion years? He felt that 10 billion years might not be enough to cause a problem with Zhu. Forget it, I'll just treat it as splurging for a celebration. Above the 9 heavens, 2 terrifying figures were fighting. They were Zhu and Li Daokong. Li Daokong held a sword. Every strike could produce billions of sword chi that filled the 9 heavens. Zhu used both hands to cast various mystical powers. Terrifying pressure filled the sky. No one dared to step foot here. Zhu raised his right hand. Countless bolts of lightning gathered in his palm and quickly condensed into a huge and majestic 5-clawed lightning dragon that roared sinisterly. At this moment, Zhu frowned and cursed. Damn it, why are you cursing me at this juncture? He hated the Dark Forbidden Lord. Li Daokong didn't know what had happened to Zhu. Identical figures appeared around him, each brandishing a different sword technique. More and more sword shadows rushed towards Zhu Tu. In the blink of an eye, Li Daogong's figures filled the sky. Suddenly, Li Daogong's sword shadows turned to face Zhu Tu. Sword light burst forth, illuminating the world. In the Nine Nether Purgatory, Hidden Sect Island, the disciples who were cultivating looked up. Why is there light? Murongqi asked in surprise. After coming to the Nine Nether Purgatory for so long, this was the first time they saw light. Li Yao frowned. That sword light. Sword light? Everyone was stunned. Diamond Rage had a complicated expression as he said, in a battle between mighty figures, the sword light can penetrate to the Nine Nether Purgatory. Such a cultivation level is truly terrifying. He's probably one of the strongest existences in the immortal world. The disciples of the Hidden Sect couldn't help but be fascinated. What cultivation level was needed to illuminate the heavens? In the Khanate cave abode, Hanju was still focused on cursing. Several days later, Hanju's lifespan started to decrease. He opened his attributes panel and stared at it carefully. 1 billion years. 3 billion years. 5 billion years. 10 billion years. Stop! Hanju didn't even bleed. The deity realm was indeed powerful. Although he didn't know if Zhu Tu was alright, Hanju didn't care. He felt good anyway. Then, he cursed the heavenly Tao Buddha. This fellow had already gone mad. It was best to curse him to death as soon as possible. Hanju also decided to play with the heavenly Tao Buddha using 10 billion years. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. He cursed with all his might, causing his lifespan to decrease at an unprecedented rate. 3 billion years. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha lost control of his demonic heart and his dermic powers. 5 billion years. 8 billion years. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha has manifested his demonic body and demonic soul, attracting the heavenly punishment. 9 billion years. 10 billion years. Stop! Hanju timed it accurately. Dark Forbidden Lord, just you wait. I will definitely kill you. Oh. The voice of heavenly Tao Buddha suddenly exploded. Not only Hanju, but everyone in Hidden Sect Island could hear it. Hanju was stunned. An email appeared in front of him. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha was killed by the heavenly Tao. He died and his Tao dissipated. A remnant soul managed to escape. Hanju checked his interpersonal relationships. The portrait of the heavenly Tao Buddha was gone. Was he dead? Still not completely dead? That remnant soul made him uneasy. At the same time, golden rain descended from the myriad worlds. The zenith heaven perished, and the myriad worlds were filled with sorrow. Heavenly Court. Numinous Palace. The heavenly emperor looked at the golden rain outside the hall, his expression changing. Who is the Dark Forbidden Lord? Zhu Tu is still fighting Li Daokong. It's definitely not him. He can actually curse the heavenly Tao Buddha to death. Isn't this? A storm brewed in the heavenly emperor's heart. He pinched his fingers to deduce, then a strange expression formed on his face. This fellow is actually the devil ancestor? No wonder it attracted the heavenly Tao. The negative karma accumulated by the devil ancestor back then was too terrifying, causing him to be rejected by the heavenly Tao the moment he entered it. Could it be that the curse of the Dark Forbidden Lord had caused the heavenly Tao Buddha to be unable to hide his true body? The heavenly emperor was uneasy. Today, it was the heavenly Tao Buddha. Would it be him next time? Although he wasn't from the devil race and the heavenly Tao would not target him, he didn't want to be cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord. Sigh. The path of the Great Tao was long-lasting. Hanju thought to himself, it's not my fault. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for having killing intent towards me. He never provoked others, but he was not afraid of trouble. Whoever dared to harm him, he would think of all ways to kill them. If he wanted the enemy to give up on hatred, he would make him disappear. Hanju adjusted his state. He prepared to continue cursing the Demon Emperor. If it was the Demon Emperor, he could curse for 5 days. Hanju didn't want to kill 2 Zenith Heavens in a row. He was afraid that his mentality would change. Furthermore, the Demon Emperor was not the devil ancestor. Even if he revealed his true body, he wouldn't be killed by the heavenly Tao. Demon Court. The Demon Emperor was filled with fear when he heard the heavenly Tao Buddha's roar. Previously, he hated the Dark Forbidden Lord and was more furious. After all, in his opinion, the Dark Forbidden Lord only dared to curse in secret. But it was different now. A Zenith Heaven was cursed to death. The Demon Emperor didn't care about the heavenly Tao Buddha being the devil ancestor. In his opinion, the Dark Forbidden Lord already had the strength to kill a Zenith Heaven. The reason why he had forced the heavenly Tao Buddha to reveal his true form was to torture him. What a terrifying and vicious fellow! The Demon Emperor had lived for so long, but he had never encountered such a savage fellow. This fellow could clearly kill the enemy directly, but he insisted on cursing in secret and torturing the enemy's will. Such an enemy was too terrifying. At this moment, the Demon Emperor even felt a hint of regret. He suddenly wanted to beg the Dark Forbidden Lord for mercy. However, he sadly discovered that he didn't even know who the Dark Forbidden Lord was. He couldn't even find him. He suddenly thought of Zhu Tu. Zhu Tu had recently been pretending to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Could it really be him? He indeed had the strength to kill the heavenly Tao Buddha. The more the Demon Emperor thought about it, the more panicked he became. At this moment, the familiar curse power attacked again. The Demon Emperor panicked. He thought that the Dark Forbidden Lord was preparing to curse him to death. He began to think of all ways to stop it. However, 5 days later, the curse stopped. He wasn't injured. The Dark Forbidden Lord seemed to be teasing him. For some reason, the Demon Emperor was pleasantly surprised. He wants to befriend me? The moment this thought appeared in the Demon Emperor's mind, it began to grow like weeds. The heavenly Tao Buddha had just died when the Dark Forbidden Lord came to curse him. It was definitely not casual. There had to be a deeper meaning. The Demon Emperor frowned. What should he do? LL new SD rise at Nov LBI CM. After cursing all the enemies, Hanju walked out of the Khanate cave abode. Fairy Xixian and Chang Yuer, who were in seclusion, also came out to listen as he preached the Tao to everyone. Everyone felt that Hanju was different now. Chu Shuren had a complicated expression and was secretly shocked. This is the deity realm? No, he might be even stronger. After awakening his memories of his previous life, Chu Shuren tried the simulation trial. He discovered that Hanju had recorded many mighty figures that he needed to admire in his previous life. Since Hanju could simulate the strength of those mighty figures, he was definitely not weaker than them. Hanju looked at Chu Shuren and asked, "What do you think about the death of the heavenly Tao Buddha?" Chu Shuren came back to his senses and said, he deserved it. When the heavenly Tao Buddha lured the devil heart into the Buddhist sect, I felt that something was wrong with him. He will definitely destroy the Buddhist sect. As expected, the others couldn't help but be curious. Previously, Chu Shuren didn't mention a word about the Buddhist sect, causing them to be too embarrassed to ask. Hanju didn't ask further and started to talk. Chang Yuer sent a voice transmission to Fairy Xixian, "Master, junior brother seems to have changed." Fairy Xixian replied, "It's just that his cultivation level has increased." She looked at Hanju with reverence. Not only them, but the other disciples also clearly felt the pressure emitted by Hanju. Diamond Rage and the Black Hell Demon Lord were the most shocked. This was obviously not a small breakthrough, but a big one. To welcome a major breakthrough with his cultivation level, what realm was he at? They didn't dare to think too much. As Hanju began to preach the Tao, everyone entered a state of enlightenment. This lecture lasted for 5 years. Everyone had comprehended something and even broke through. Including Diamond Rage and the Black Hell Demon Lord, they seemed to have found a way to increase their cultivation level. For the next 4 years, Hanju allowed them to ask questions one by one. After that, he dismissed the disciples and returned to the cave abode alone, preparing to continue cultivating. Dao Comprehension Sword followed him. She came in front of Hanju and asked carefully, "Master, you're so strong now. Do you still want to hide here?" For some reason, Hanju gave her the feeling of invincibility. She had never felt it so strongly. Hanju said angrily, "What do you mean by hiding? This is cultivation. There is no end to the Tao." "What? Has your Tao heart changed? You want to go out? Alright, get out now. I'll personally send you to the immortal world." Tao Comprehension Sword was so frightened that her face turned pale. She hurriedly knelt down and begged, "I didn't. Master, I was wrong." Hanju snorted. "Don't ask such questions in the future. Cultivate well." He was already a little arrogant. If more and more voices like Tao Comprehension Sword appeared around him, he might really become arrogant enough to enter the calamity. Could this girl have been possessed by the heavenly Tao to seduce him? Hanju was determined. "I'm not strong enough." Thinking of Li Daokong and ancestor Shi Tian, the smugness in his heart vanished. Tao Comprehension Sword seemed to be frightened. She returned to her mat and continued cultivating. Hanju couldn't bear it and said, "Come over. I'll give you special treatment." Tao Comprehension Sword was pleasantly surprised and hurriedly came to his bed to meditate. Her gaze landed on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus under Hanju. She wanted to ask what this treasure was, but she didn't dare to. "Regarding the heavenly sword Tao, you've already cultivated most of it. I'll teach you another sword Tao mystical power. This mystical power is the unparalleled sword Qi, the mystical power you despised before," Hanju said expressionlessly. Tao Comprehension Sword hurriedly waved her hand and denied it. "I didn't. I only said this name is average." "Oh? You're still arguing? I was wrong." Hanju smiled in satisfaction and started to teach her the mystical power. Half a year later, Tao Comprehension Sword was chased out of the cave abode by Hanju and went outside to cultivate his mystical power. Hanju took out the Heavenly Tao token and contacted the Heavenly Emperor. He didn't know how the Heavenly Court had been all these years. Soon, his divine sense connected. "Humph, you really broke through to the deity realm." The Heavenly Emperor snorted. He felt Hanju's divine sense transform. It was no longer the Emperor realm, but the divine sense of the deity realm. Hanju said awkwardly, "Cough cough, I was just lucky." The Heavenly Emperor said meaningfully, TSK, your talent is really powerful. I suspect that you don't have a chaotic physique, but a stronger and more mysterious physique." "No, I just have a heart towards the Tao." "Heart of the Tao?" "Perhaps." The Heavenly Emperor seemed to have thought of something and fell silent. Hanju asked, "How's the situation in the Heavenly Court recently? I heard a voice previously. Something must have happened in the immortal world." The Heavenly Emperor said indifferently, "Just one Buddha died." "Just?" Hanju was unhappy. He wanted to hear the Heavenly Emperor brag about the Dark Forbidden Lord, but this fellow did not follow the script. "Heavenly Emperor, do you know how many years of lifespan I've spent? If I tell you, you can't bear the burden." The Heavenly Emperor spoke slowly as if he was talking about a very ordinary matter. Hanju was even more depressed. "Are you bragging?" The Heavenly Emperor changed the topic and said, "However, this matter is related to the Dark Forbidden Lord. The fact that the Dark Forbidden Lord could drive a Zenith Heaven mad and even force him to death is truly not simple." The Demon Emperor was frightened and said that he was willing to invite the Dark Forbidden Lord to enter the Demon Court and enjoy equal status with him. He will be treated just like the Demon Emperor. Hanju was stunned. What was the Demon Emperor doing? Trick a dog in before killing it? An ambush? Hanju felt that the Demon Emperor had to be taught a lesson. As long as the Demon Emperor's hatred for him did not decrease, he would always have the intention to kill him. Hanju asked, "How's the situation in the Heavenly Court? You aren't targeted by the Dark Forbidden Lord, right? He will curse me occasionally, but overall, the Heavenly Court is temporarily unaffected by the Dark Forbidden Lord. Next, the Heavenly Court will start a war with the Demon Court. The calamity has already begun for a period of time. It's time for true war." The Heavenly Emperor smiled, his tone filled with confidence. Hanju felt that he had gotten arrogant. He would probably fail. He didn't dare to say it directly and could only wish the Heavenly Emperor success. The two of them did not chat for long before ending the conversation. He continued to cultivate. One mystic divine origin was not enough. He was too far from the Zenith Heaven Realm. Hanju's goal was to reach the Zenith Heaven Realm as soon as possible. Even the Heavenly Tao Buddha had died easily, let alone a little deity realm cultivator like him. Cultivation was truly endless. 8 years later, the system was finally upgraded. The Tao field has been upgraded. The array formation has been upgraded to the Zenith Heaven Realm. It has expanded the internal space of the Tao field. Tao field immortal chi has increased by 10 times. Connate chi has increased by 5 times. The Tao field can block the prying of a sage's divine sense. The system has added a new guard function. It can completely replicate a Zenith Heaven expert in the simulation trial as a guard. He will listen to you. The guard cannot leave the Tao field for more than an hour. Otherwise, it will directly disappear. Hanju was stunned after reading the 4 lines of notifications. An unprecedented sense of security surged into his heart. The array formation of the Zenith Heaven Realm meant that no enemy below the Zenith Heaven Realm could barge in. Previously, it had blocked the prying of the pseudo-sage, but now, it directly blocked the sage. This time, Hanju could hide completely. The most explosive thing was the defense function. He could directly duplicate a Zenith Heaven. He felt extremely safe. The more the system upgraded, the stronger it became. No wonder there had been so many upgrades recently. It seemed that the system couldn't help but want to upgrade. Hanju closed his eyes and started to choose the Zenith Heaven. After some thought, he first chose Zhu, the number 1 in the immeasurable calamity. However, Hanju was worried that he would surpass the Zenith Heaven. Choice successful. Congratulations on obtaining the Tao field's first guard. Once the guard dies, he cannot be revived. It will take time for the guard to be copied. Please wait patiently. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It was settled. However, the guard could only stay on the island. If he left for more than an hour, he would automatically be gone. In other words, this guard could only be a guard and not a fighter. He was arrogant. This time, as long as he stayed in the Tao field, he would be invincible. At least below the Heavenly Tao. Zhu is already the strongest in the calamity. A pseudo-sage shouldn't enter the world, let alone a sage. Hanju felt the dark clouds above his head lift and his body relaxed. Next, he just had to wait for the guard to appear. At the same time, the disciples of the hidden sect discovered that the immortal chi in the island was increasing again. The Black Hell Demon Lord clicked his tongue in wonder. Why are the array formations in this island increasing from time to time? I clearly didn't see the door move, nor did I see any more natural treasures. The Black Hell Chicken smiled proudly. Of course it's a mystical power. Do you understand what a mystical power is? It can turn something useless into something magical. My master is very capable. The Black Hell Demon Lord rolled his eyes. He could tell that Hanju had a higher status in the Black Hell Chicken's heart. If he broke up with him, the Black Hell Chicken would definitely choose Hanju without hesitation. The others also began to discuss. At the edge of the cliff, Chu Shuren looked around and muttered, "Aura of creation. Could it be?" He seemed to have thought of something and his expression changed. He turned to look at the Khanate cave abode with reverence in his eyes. After 20 years, the guard had yet to appear. Hanju asked many times. After confirming that the system was still creating it, he was relieved. He was really afraid that the system would play tricks on him. Fortunately, he was hiding in the Nine Nether Purgatory. If a powerful enemy attacked during this period of time, it would be terrible. While waiting, Hanju kept cultivating. After breaking through to the deity realm, Hanju discovered that the speed at which the stellar primordial body absorbed negative karma was more than 100 times faster than before. This was normal. After reaching the deity realm, if his cultivation speed was still the same as the emperor realm, how could Hanju survive? What made him glad was that the absorption speed of negative karma was still increasing. Be it the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus or the negative karma in the Nine Nether Purgatory, they were endless. This was Hanju's greatest opportunity. He didn't have to go out and fight for luck. On this day, Hanju had just finished cursing the enemy and had nothing to do. He started to use the simulation trial to relax. This time, he wanted to study the combat method of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. He believed that this treasure was not just defensive. It should have stronger uses. After fighting again and again, Hanju suddenly discovered something. If he released the negative karma of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus in battle, endless negative karma would surge towards the enemy. Although Li Daokong, the Heavenly Emperor, the Master of the Divine Palace, and the other mighty figures would not be devoured by negative karma, they would still be restrained. A noob like Li Xian'ao was directly wrapped by negative karma and couldn't move anymore. Hanju attacked again, and, after attacking for a period of time, he was gone. In that case, I can keep the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and use it as a trump card in the future. Hanju thought silently. Then, he no longer absorbed the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Instead, he absorbed the negative karma outside the hidden sect island. He used his divine sense to absorb it before transmitting it into his body and being digested by the stellar primordial body. However, this treasure can't be used in the immortal world. The Heavenly Tao Buddha was killed by the Heavenly Tao because of the devil ancestor's negative karma. Hanju concluded. It seemed that he and the system had become much stronger, but it was only suitable for him to stay in the Nine Nether Purgatory. If he headed to the immortal world, he still had to rely on his cultivation level to fight enemies. Once a Heavenly Tao Supreme treasure like the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was used, it would definitely attract the attention of the mighty figures and attract endless trouble. Fortunately, Hanju was not interested in going out. He entered seclusion in peace and waited for the calamity to end. He wondered when the calamity would end. What realm could he reach before it ended? At this moment, Hanju suddenly sensed that someone was using the invocation technique. His expression changed. Who the hell was summoning him? He had just decided not to go out when someone summoned him. Wasn't this a slap in the face? Should he go over? Only his disciples and Tao companions knew the invocation technique. It was rare to encounter one in 1,000 years. They must have encountered great trouble. Hanju didn't hesitate for long before deciding to go. A black vortex appeared in front of him. Hanju sat on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and flew in together. Without the supreme treasure, he felt uneasy. Even though he was already at the deity realm, he was still very cautious. Fang Liang, Ji Xianshen, and Han Ming gathered together. The three of them were trapped in a golden formation. Countless demons attacked from outside the formation. They attacked one after another, frantically attacking the golden formation, wanting to break through it. All sorts of terrifying roars resounded through the world. It was deafening. Ji Xianshen gritted his teeth and scolded, "Brat, can you call your grandmaster or not?" If you really can't, I'll use a forbidden technique. Fang Liang gritted his teeth and said, if you use a forbidden technique again, your soul will definitely be severely injured. There will be no chance of you reaching the Emperor realm anymore. Besides, you might not be able to escape even if you use a forbidden technique. He looked around and gritted his teeth. Han Ming stood behind the two of them, his expression changing. At this moment, a black vortex appeared above their heads. Immediately after, a purple light descended and the three of them were pleasantly surprised. Hanju was really here. A figure appeared in the purple light. He sat on the lotus throne, and no one could see his true appearance or the lotus throne. Ji Xianshen shouted, Brother Guan Yu, you're finally here. Hanju was stunned. He almost forgot the name he made up long ago. He immediately checked the strongest person around him. The strongest was only at the Emperor realm. Hanju couldn't even be bothered to remember his name, but it was someone from the devil race. Hanju asked, what happened? Fang Liang said awkwardly, this is the demon abyss. We were chased by the demon court and accidentally entered this place. Grandmaster, I'm sorry. I didn't want to trouble you, but there's a blood relative of yours here. Hanju glanced at Han Ming. He could sense that Han Ming's bloodline aura was close to him, but he was not too interested. Hanju's eyes narrowed. All the demons outside the golden formation dissipated like smoke. Ji Xianshen, Fang Liang, and Han Ming were stunned. They were all dumbfounded. Han Ming asked in surprise, they retreated? Fang Liang suddenly turned to look at Hanju. No, it's Grandmaster's divine sense. Hanju said meaningfully, you know quite a lot. It seems that you had many opportunities before. He didn't forget that Fang Liang's soul had transcended into the primordial era. Who knew how long this kid had stayed there? Ji Xianshen asked in shock, they're all dead? Then, hurry up and leave. Hanju interrupted impatiently. With that, he prepared to escape back into the black vortex. Wait! Han Ming suddenly took a step forward. Hanju stopped and said, oh, I almost forgot about you. He waved his right hand and Han Ming turned into a bloody mist that splattered all over the ground. Two souls landed in his hand. Fang Liang and Ji Xianshen weren't stupid. They immediately understood. Why does this fellow have two souls? Ji Xianshen frowned. Fang Liang was enlightened. That fellow isn't Grandmaster's younger brother. Hanju took the two souls into his palm and left. Remember, unless you know someone, don't trust them. Hanju returned to the black vortex and returned to the Khanate cave abode. The black vortex dissipated. Ji Xianshen and Fang Liang hurriedly left and vanished into the horizon in the blink of an eye. While escaping, Ji Xianshen couldn't help but ask, what realm is your Grandmaster at now? And Fang Liang had a complicated expression as he said, at least the deity realm. He's even stronger than an immortal emperor, how is that possible? He came from the same mortal world as us and has never ascended. Perhaps my Grandmaster has an identity that we don't know about. Oh? What identity? I already said that I don't know. Are you a fool? Brat, you're becoming more and more impudent. Have you forgotten how I took care of you in the past? Times are different now. You might not be my match. What a joke! Other than dodging, can you defeat me? After returning to the Khanate cave abode, Hanju told Dao Comprehension Sword to go out. He opened his right hand and let out the two souls. One of them was Han Ming, and the identity of the other was unknown. Hanju used the simulation trial to test his identity. Zhou Ganzi, rank 6 Immortal Emperor, Khanate human race. Hanju looked at Zhou Ganzi and asked, why do you want to possess him? Zhou Ganzi shivered and said with a trembling voice, I'm injured. I wanted to stay in his body for the time being. I have no ill intentions. Han Ming looked at Hanju with a complicated expression. He was even a little excited. In the past, under immortal Emperor Samsara, he had never been convinced by Hanju. Only when he went out to train did he understand the dangers of the world. Hanju's appearance made him feel even more kinship. Most importantly, Hanju immediately saw through Zhou Ganzi's disguise, making him worship him. Han Ming's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 6 stars. Hanju ignored the notification and stared at Zhou Ganzi. Do you really think I'll believe you? I have ways to make you confess. He threw him into the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. I'll talk. I'm immortal Emperor Samsara's disciple. Zhou Ganzi shouted in horror as if he had encountered the most terrifying torture in the world. Hanju let him out. Han Ming stared curiously at the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. What was hidden in it? Zhou Ganzi's soul trembled as he shouted, Immortal Emperor Samsara hoped to use your younger brother to find you, so I possessed Han Ming and tried to approach you. I was also forced. It was Immortal Emperor Samsara who forced me. Zhou Ganzi has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 4 stars. Hanju's eyes narrowed, and Zhou Ganzi's soul dispersed. He couldn't be bothered to ask. All he needed to know was who was behind this. Hanju looked at him. Han Ming lowered his head and didn't dare to look at him. Everything in front of him told him that Hanju's strength far exceeded his imagination. He might even be as terrifying as Immortal Emperor Samsara. Otherwise, why would Immortal Emperor Samsara target Hanju in such a roundabout manner? Hanju hesitated. How should he deal with Han Ming? Should he kill him? However, Han Ming had no intention of harming him. Furthermore, they were blood-related in this life. It was too inhumane to kill him directly. Hanju said calmly, we're actually not close at all. There's no reason to talk about kinship. I was abandoned since I was young. To be frank, you were able to live until today because of me. Otherwise, Immortal Emperor Samsara wouldn't have raised you at all. I'll give you 2 choices. 1. Directly reincarnate. Your relationship with me will cause you even more trouble in the future. Immortal Emperor Samsara will still target you. I can think of a way to make you reincarnate into a good family. 2. Cultivate on the island. However, you are not allowed to speak of our relationship. After the calamity ends, you will leave. From then on, we'll have nothing to do with each other. Our brotherly relationship will cease. If you threaten me, I will kill you. Hearing this, Han Ming suddenly raised his head and said in a low voice, then, I'll reincarnate. I don't want to fawn on you, either. Needless to say, this kid really looked a little similar to him. However, he was not as handsome as him. He had thought that Han Ming would choose to stay on Hidden Sect Island. He didn't expect this kid to have such a backbone. He actually chose to reincarnate. In that case, I'll fulfill your wish. Hanju said, sure, but the reincarnation cycle has been chaotic recently. It's not easy to reincarnate. Wait for a while. With that, he placed Han Ming's soul into his sleeve. From the beginning to the end, Han Ming's favorability towards him did not decrease. It seemed that this fellow didn't hate Hanju. He was just not convinced. This made Hanju think highly of him. Especially after Han Ming developed a favorable impression of him for no reason, he believed in this even more. It was a slap in the face. For some reason, Hanju thought of Zhou Fan. After being saved by the elder brother of a mighty figure, he was mistaken to think that he wanted to reach out to the elder brother of a mighty figure and chose to reincarnate. F 星号 CK. Why did this feel like the start of a fantasy protagonist? Hanju didn't want to be challenged by a protagonist in the future. Hanju stopped thinking and took out the Heavenly Dao token to contact the Heavenly Emperor. The Heavenly Emperor quickly connected to him. What is it? The Netherworld is in chaos. I want someone to be reincarnated. Does the Heavenly Court have a way? It's not that there's no way, but who is this person? Hanju didn't hide anything and told him about his relationship with Han Ming, including the plot of Immortal Emperor Samsara. The Heavenly Emperor praised, "You aren't tied down by some nonsense kinship. I didn't misjudge you, after all." In his opinion, the affection of mortals was not worth mentioning, let alone the brothers who had no feelings at all. "I'll help you." "Thank you." "Oh, let him be born into a good family. I still admire his temperament." "Ha ha ha, don't worry. I know what to do. Actually, I don't have to erase your relationship. As long as you hide it well, it's good to have more allies on the path of cultivation. Perhaps he can save your life in the future. I don't want that day to come. That means that I'm not strong enough. Come on, why didn't you think so when you asked me to save your life?" Cough cough. Hanju coughed and didn't feel awkward. He said shamelessly, "Your Majesty, by saving me, I'll definitely save the future of the Heavenly Court." The Heavenly Emperor snorted. "All right, send that kid's soul over." "Using this token?" "Yes, you're already at the deity realm. You can use your divine sense to protect his soul and send it over. Although the process will make him feel a little uncomfortable, aren't you afraid of coming to the immortal world?" "Thank you for your reminder, Your Majesty." "You actually didn't refute?" "Sure, I didn't misjudge you." Hanju smiled and wrapped Han Ming's soul with his divine sense, sending it into the Heavenly Dao token. Soon, he felt a powerful force suck away Han Ming's soul. For some reason, Hanju felt inexplicably melancholic. He couldn't help but recall Han Ming's expression when he made his choice. "Was I wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. No one can disturb my Dao heart." Hanju's eyes were firm. Then, he said, "Your Majesty, try your best to give him a better reincarnation. It's best if he doesn't get abandoned again." In other words, he didn't want to send him to a powerful faction that was about to collapse. Although this situation was good, his fate would be rough. "I understand," the Heavenly Emperor replied. Soon, their divine sense connection ended. Then, Hanju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. This rescue made him feel the power of the deity realm. With a thought, all the enemies were reduced to ashes. The immortal emperor fled in fear, not even daring to shout. Under the resplendent galaxy, the Heavenly Emperor walked on a long ice crystal staircase. A soul shadow followed behind him. It was Han Ming. Han Ming was very nervous as he didn't know where he was going. He couldn't help but ask, "May I know who?" He asked very carefully because the Heavenly Emperor emitted a very strong pressure, making him feel as if he was facing Immortal Emperor Samsara. "Heavenly Emperor." The Heavenly Emperor replied without looking back. Han Ming was stunned. The Heavenly Emperor. He was shocked. The Heavenly Emperor was personally leading him to reincarnation? Was Hanju already on par with the Heavenly Emperor? Thinking of this, Han Ming felt even more complicated. He even regretted it a little. Should he have chosen to stay by Hanju's side? At least, it was a huge opportunity. But he quickly discarded this regret. If he can become a mighty figure by himself, why can't I? I can't let him look down on me. Han Ming's eyes were firm. One day, he would be strong enough to appear in front of Hanju as an equal. At that time, he would look directly at him. The two of them continued forward and quickly arrived at the end of the long ice crystal staircase. There was a huge lake ahead that was shimmering with light. The sea of stars reflected on the surface of the lake, looking dazzling and beautiful. The Heavenly Emperor turned around and said, "This is the River of Destiny. Jump in and you will reincarnate as a human again." Han Ming came to the end and looked at the River of Destiny. He took a deep breath. He was about to jump down when the Heavenly Emperor suddenly said, "Ordinary reincarnations won't start here, and I won't lead them personally. You have to thank your brother. He did this for your own good. By severing the karma of the past, Immortal Emperor Samsara won't be able to find you." Han Ming frowned and hesitated. He had many questions to ask, but he did not know how to ask. He was afraid that he would appear timid now. The Heavenly Emperor continued, I will think of a way to protect your memories. You will be born into a good family and will no longer be under the shadow of your brother. You will be a brand new person who can grow even stronger. Actually, blood ties are not important. If a person has feelings, even if the cycle of reincarnation changes, the bonds will still exist. If you become stronger in the future, don't forget to repay him. If not for your brother, I wouldn't have brought you here personally. Han Ming took a deep breath and bowed respectfully to the Heavenly Emperor. Then, he immediately jumped into the River of Destiny. The Heavenly Emperor waved his sleeve, and a dazzling light appeared on the surface of the lake. His eyes flickered as he muttered, There's a good show to watch now. I want to see what kind of commotion you will cause. 10 years later, Hanju ended his cultivation and started cursing the enemy while checking his emails. Your good friend Li Daokong was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Han Ming received the help of a mighty figure and entered the River of Destiny. He was reincarnated by the Heavenly Tao and his providence has transformed. Your good friend Huang Zuntian has received guidance from a mighty figure of the Jie school. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Jiang Yi has comprehended the Heavenly Tao true meaning during his cultivation. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Dao Sovereign was attacked by the devil race, X42006. Your grand disciple Chu Shuren has awakened the mystical power of his previous life and awakened the supreme treasure in the depths of his soul. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Empress Hutu created a mysterious race and obtained heavenly Tao merit. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was chosen by a mysterious mighty figure. His fate has changed. Heavenly Tao reincarnation? It didn't look simple. Hanju noticed that Han Ming's portrait was still there, which meant that his memories were still intact. The Heavenly Emperor didn't erase the memories of his previous life? Hanju continued reading. Many strange things had happened recently.